This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Now then, it occurred to me the other day that it was almost inevitable that someone like me, who grew up in the UK in the 1970s and had an interest in music, would take up the guitar. I began the 1970s as a toddler and ended that decade as a teenager. So all of the music that made a big impression on me happened in, between the year 1970 and 1980. And I'm not just going to be talking here about, I'm going to be talking at all about how great Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple and Black Sabbath were, and still are in some cases. I'm still a big fan of Deep Purple and other iconic rock bands from that era. But as a 7, 8, 9-year-old, I wasn't listening to Deep Purple and Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin and Bad Company and stuff. I was listening to chart pop, chart pop that was aimed at 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds like me. And there was just so much great riffy guitar all over that kind of music in a way that there just isn't in the equivalent of today's chart pop. Here's what I mean. Take a listen to this bluesy little riff. That almost sounds like something that Jimmy Page might have played, doesn't it? But it wasn't. That is the intro riff from Myokachu by Alvin Stardust, and that reached the number 2 slot in the charts in the UK in 1974. And interesting thing, Alvin Stardust, the man who sadly passed away a few years ago, didn't actually sing on that track. The story behind that was that the song was put together as a novelty record by a songwriter and producer whose name escapes me at the moment, and he sang it, and it was released and it started getting radio airplay, and Top of the Pops wanted Alvin Stardust to go on on the show, and this guy, whose name I can't remember, didn't want to be this kind of cheesy pop star, so they hired a guy called Bernard Jury, who'd had a string of hits in the 60s with under the name of Shane Fenton, and then they changed his name to Alvin Stardust, and he became the persona of that. And he didn't actually sing on that track, but he did sing on all the subsequent Alvin Stardust records. So there you go, great little bluesy riff on that one. And what about this little country rock solo? Yeah, that sounds like it could have come from a Bob Seger record, or, maybe the Eagles or something like that. But no, that was the guitar solo from Showaddywaddy's debut single, Hey Rock and Roll. Showaddywaddy were basically an amalgamation of two bands from Leicester who pooled their resources and ended up going on, I think it was a BBC or ITV rather, talent show called New Faces, and they won it and got a record deal, and their first single was that particular song, Hey Rock and Roll. It wouldn't happen these days, would it? Somebody winning one of Mr. Cowell's talent contests, kind of having a guitar solo in it like that. Anyway, so there you go. Another great guitar solo from the the adolescent or, kind of young person orientated pop of the 1970s. And here's another guitar solo. This one is quite a melodic kind of rock sort of thing. Well, it goes like this. some people are already kind of knowing who that is, I suspect, because it was a massive hit. But if you don't, who was that by? Was that by, it sounded like it could have been a Bad Company tune, doesn't it? But no, that was from a song called Magic by a Scottish band called Pilot, and that only reached number 11 in the charts. I'm surprised. I thought it got much higher than that, but it did seem to. It seemed to spend a long time in the charts back then, and it was just everywhere. And it's that guitar tone on the original recording. I'm linking to all of these down below, by the way, and I'm going to, in my next month's Patreon podcast, I'm going to be playing all of these tracks in full, the original version. So I've linked to all of them down below if you want to go and check out the originals. But the guitar tone on that is just one of those guitar tones that I still kind of like to try and get close to, actually. I like that sort of very tight stereo delay that's on there. It's my kind of sound, that. But there you go, just another singles band who broke up, I think, in the late 70s. I think they've had various reunions ever since, but that was Pilot and their number 11 chart hit, Magic. Now then, what about a little bit of up-tempo boogie shuffle with some harmonised twin lead guitar parts? Bit like this. And I suspect a lot of people especially know that one because it is quite well known. But let's imagine you don't. You could easily imagine that coming from an Allman Brothers track, or maybe Molly Hatchet or something like that. No, that was the guitar solo from Tiger Feet by a British band called Mud, and that hit the number 1 slot back in 1974 when I was 7 years old at the time. And yeah, the guitarist on that record, I think he's called Rob Davies, later went on to write several hit songs, at least one hit song, I think maybe more, for Kylie Minogue. But he has asked for several other offences to be taken into consideration. Anyway, let's round things off today with this little kind of minor bluesy kind of riff that goes like this. You know, that's got sort of shades of Dire Straits about it, hasn't it? You know, or maybe, I guess, you could make the case that that might sound a little bit sort of southern rock. But where's that from? Well, it comes from a song from 1977 by Hutch, of Starsky and Hutch fame, David Soul, no less. The song is called Silver Lady, and it's not, I'll be honest with you, even kind of close to being in any list of my favourite songs. But that's the point. Even the songs that I wasn't that kind of, sold on back then, even the kind of just the wishy-washy sort of stuff, let's say, had some great kind of guitar playing on it in a way that, as I said earlier, you just don't seem to get nowadays, and I think that is a crying shame. So there you go. There are 5 iconic, well, not iconic, but 5 great guitar parts that I grew up listening to just as I was watching Top of the Pops or listening to Top 40 radio back in the 70s, and that, I think, is possibly why I ended up playing the guitar. You get exposed to lots of great guitar playing, and it possibly piques your interest in, becoming a guitar player yourself. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, folks, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video and found it reasonably entertaining, and if you have, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and why not give me a like while you're at it. If you want me to do any of these kind of parts here, like those solos, like the Tiger Feet one, for instance, or the Shiwaddy Waddy one, or the Pilot one, if you want me to do like one of my solo analysis videos on any one of those, just leave a comment down below, and we'll see which one or which ones get the most attention. I'll happily dedicate a video to any of them. And that is pretty much it for today, folks. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a blast putting this video together, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed doing it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say don't forget about the live stream tomorrow, 5 PM Friday UK time. We sit and have a beer and a chat, and I suspect there'll be a fair bit of reminiscing and nostalgia from old farts like me who remember the Top of the Pops in the 70s. That'll be going on tomorrow, but we'll be having a beer and a chat and talking about whatever comes up. Great way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.